So it's Raito 74 here. It's the latest talking balls, but actually this is a special edition, and this is a season review. So we're going to look back a little bit at season 6. We're going to talk about season 7 coming up, because that starts at the start of the new week coming up. And we're going to talk about the one that's bridging both seasons, so the World Championships. And we'll find out more about the guys in terms of how their seasons are going, what the World Championships are doing, what they hope to do in the new season. And of course, we've got Mike here, No Guts as well, who will help us out with a bit of background as to his plans and thoughts as well in terms of the game. So so I'm going to go around. I'm just going to ask everybody just to say quickly who they are, and then we'll open up with a bit of a review of the season. So if I look on my screen, and this, perhaps this is how it will record. So on my top left, I've got Rainy. So I've already almost done it for you, Rainy, but if you wouldn't mind just saying who you are.
Yeah, I'm RainyLamb, guys. Go by RainyLamb, or Scott's my real name, so whichever.
Brilliant, thanks a lot. Okay, Milne, I'm going to go to you.
Hi, I'm Lee. Milne, obviously Milne 1308. Real name Lee, just prefer to be called Lee. So yeah.
Okay, brilliant, thank you. I've got Stuart on the screen, and I know we know Stuart by another name.
Hi, I'm Stuart. My gamer tag is Mumford 1969.
Brilliant, thank you. And then Zoom user, which is a unique name, but tell us who you really are.
Yeah, I'm Postman 1969, so I guess I'm born same year as Mumford. My real name's Andy, and I'm not Postman. I'm an engineer.
And for anybody who didn't catch us in the green room, we had a little chat about that beforehand. And then over to Mike. So Mike, if you just introduce yourself. People hopefully saw you in the first edition, but over to you if you would.
Yeah, hello, I'm No Guts, Michael. Yeah, just I think everyone probably knows from the first one, as you say, but yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, look, it's good to see you all. It's really good to join in, and I know this came together fairly short notice. And hopefully, you know, if you know, stuff like this goes well, then we can do more of the bigger chats in the future, and mix it up a bit so that it's not just the individual ones, so that we can have a bit of a, you know, a bit of a variety in what we produce. So really, the first point then is to look back at the season. So we're almost there. I know I think there's maybe one match left in League One. I think that's just to be done, but we're pretty much there, really. Mike, if you wouldn't mind just telling us, you've obviously, this is your baby that you brought into the world a little while ago. What's your reflections looking overall at season 6?
In terms of personal or just in general?
In general, if you would, yeah, in general would be good.
Yeah, I think it's been quite a good season, really. It's been like, if you look up and down all the tables, it's been quite close in a lot of them. I mean, obviously the Premier League was won on head-to-heads. I think League One's gone down to the final day to see who wins that. So did the Championship. I obviously missed out on promotion by head-to-head to the Premier League, and I think League Two went down to the last game. So it's kind of shows that all. I mean, not all divisions are settled yet. There are some people that need to work their way up. Obviously, Rainy being one of them. Mumford got promoted this season, and there's a lot of new guys that have just joined who work their way up. But it shows that on the whole, there's some fairly equal divisions, so it's quite good to have that competitive side of it, definitely.
Yeah, really competitive. When you look at the, as you say, the scores, and you look at the promotion and relegation, I mean, some of them are kind of hanging on a thread, isn't it, as to who makes the cut, really?
Yeah, it's tight all round. Yeah. You look through most divisions, and it'll be the same in most of them. It'll probably be the same next season as well.
And about you personally, so then going back to you, so you had quite an interesting season, didn't you?
Yeah.
I don't want, you know, it's almost a season of haves and have-nots, nearly there, almost.
Yeah, I mean, I won the Silver Cup, which is, you know, like before this season, I'd never been anywhere near winning anything. I only won a few games, let alone a trophy. So yeah, I was happy to win that, and obviously nearly went up as well, but unfortunately, another user in the chat stopped me doing that.
The other users maintaining a calmness at the moment, yeah. not being dragged into this one.
He deserved it. I think he only lost one game all season. That was to me. Him and Kev were the better players. They deserved it. I give him my best shot, and I just missed out. But yeah, that's all you can do, really. It's a bit gutting, but I mean, at the same time, I think to myself, am I ready to get up there? I don't think I am. I think I just got smashed every week. But then on the other side, I'm thinking, am I ever going to get that close again? So I'm kind of half happy, half not, if you know what I mean. But
yeah, and I guess it's a bit like the Premier League in football, isn't it? When you get players who go up to the Premier and then come straight back down, you realise there must be a bit of a gulf there in a way.
it happens a lot. It happens a lot. Yeah, like obviously Chef went up straight back down. I think the season before went up, come straight back down. It happens quite a lot. It's kind of, you got the top 5 in the Premier League, and then the rest of them, it's like you got Lee, Gira, J-Boy, Render. I can't remember the other one is, but yeah, there's 5 of them.
Mace.
And Mace, yeah, how did I forget Mace? And yeah, them 5 are always in the top 5, and then the other 3 are just all playing to just stay up. Really, it's kind of that it needs. You're going to need someone special to come in and break that mold, really. But I mean, Mumford and Kev have got a good chance of doing that next season for sure.
So let me go to Mumford then. So Mumford, if I'm reading the history right, and I've been doing what Mike tells us to do and looking at the website. So I know on the website I think you won, didn't you win League 1 last season, and now you've just won the Championship to get up?
I think I picked Major to win League 1 last season. It was a bit of a shame because I think Major had to forfeit some games because he was moving house. So I was a bit fortunate to benefit from that. So it was I was really happy to move up to the Championship League. And when I got promoted from the League 1 to the Championship, in all honesty, my thoughts at the beginning of the season was to avoid relegation. I looked at the players that were in there, and I just thought they're a really strong bunch of players, and if I can just compete against them, then I would do well. But as the season progressed, I think Kev took an early lead going through the season. So he was setting the pace. Sadly, one of the players pulled out halfway through, which meant that the points had to be jiggled about a bit. I did benefit from that because I lost my game against that player that eventually turned out to be a bye. So again, I think two seasons in a row, I've sort of benefited from a bit of good fortune from other things that wasn't anything to do with my play. But I went through the season. I only lost 1 game against the remaining, and that was to No Guts. So he's a bit of my bug player at the moment because he beat me 4-0 last night in our second session of the World Championship. So he's leading 5-3 now. So that. Looking forward to that resume. Yeah, you can laugh. But yeah, so really glad to get promoted to the Premier division. Really looking forward to the challenge. Again, it will just be avoid relegation scenario. Play my best, see if I can at least compete against those guys. I've seen how they play, and they're just your safety needs to be really tight. And I my safety and put side on it to try and get behind the bold colours. So if you slightly overhit that, then you push a red out, and I'm going to have to sort of tighten up on that because I know if give them a sniff, that's the frame over and probably the match over. But yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, brilliant.
Need to recharge my headset because it's
yeah, go for it. Yeah, go for it. Yeah, brilliant. I mean, I think, and that's a nice way to do it. I think we're obviously saying about reviewing the season we've had, but looking ahead as well. So we can kind of bring that in really. And I know Mike's told us as well about kind of mixed feelings about not making the cut to go up and what that would have meant and whether that means that the chances have run out. from what it sounds like, I'm sure you'll be up there again anyway. But yeah, let's see. It sounds like an interesting season coming up. So I'm going to move around a bit. I know, sorry, Rainy, I know this is hard for you in a sense because you haven't been in this season, but I will bring you in shortly and we'll talk a bit more about your observations of how it's going and obviously what you're thinking about now that we've seen the leagues being confirmed. Although I think there might be a couple of slots still for your division. Milne, well, tell us a little bit about your season and your, how you're finding the game and how's it going for you?
Yeah, it's going all right. I came in season 5 as someone dropped out, so Mike joined me in, and I sort of played a few games fairly quickly and caught up. I didn't do. I like playing the game. I didn't do fantastically well. I think I just sort of managed the way it sort of worked out. And Mike did the leagues. I ended up staying in League 2 because of players coming in, players going out. This season hasn't. I think I've won about 2 games. To be fair, it's not gone fantastic. I tried to stop Jay Laird the other night getting the full. My plan. I said to him, through text was, "I'll try and prevent you getting any further ahead." He was like, "Come on." I was like, "No, I'm going to literally try," but I think I missed a pink, and he ended up taking it and going away with it. But yeah, I've not had a fantastic season. I think I tend to rush my play quite a lot. I do. I can get the snookers. I can get the plants sometimes when I play for them. But overall, I think my play is quite messy. So I think I need to tidy up a significant amount if I want to progress anywhere out of this League 2, to be honest. So yeah.
Are there any particular parts of your game that you think need a bit of fine tuning, or you think people could help you a bit with?
I think, to be fair, the game's all about obviously positioning and thinking about your next shot, or 2 shots ahead, or 3 shots ahead. That's where I think I'm messy. Positioning is, I try and think of the next shot, but I'll overshoot or not enough, and I'll leave myself stuck behind a red when I need to get onto a colour. Stupid things like that I tend to get stuck with. But when I can play and I can do it, and I'm on. But when I'm not, I'm just. It seems to be a bit all over the place. I think positioning and just thinking further than 1 shot ahead, if that makes sense, to be honest. So yeah, have to see how this season goes. Some new names in that League 2 that have come in. So yeah, just see where we go.
Yeah, quality. Yeah, and it's been a tough league by the looks of it. You've had obviously some new players in, and Jay Laird you mentioned, who came in fresh with me at the start of the season, but I think he's winning the league anyway. He's going straight through by the look of it, and
definitely.
very much on the front foot kind of player, quite aggressive, gets stuck in. So yeah, but as you say, it's a new chance, new season, and new players in the division. So fresh start.
Yeah, I always try to. Every game I go into, I think, do you know?
Well, not sure about anyone else, but Milne's frozen on mine.
Yeah.
If you come back, we'll bring you back in. Postman, let's go to you, Postman. Let's find out more about your season. You're League 1, aren't you?
I'm League 1. Got promoted last season, so I had a good season. It's been best. Last season was probably my best season in terms of wins. Truth be told, I'm similar to Milne really. I'm inconsistent, and you've seen that yourself. We've played a few times. If I get in, I can score heavily, and I can have a near flawless frame. But then I screw up the stupid shots. Truth be told, I don't practice enough. I only play the games we play competitively. That's my problem. But I enjoy that. I've improved massively since I've been playing, and this season. I haven't won many matches, and I'm probably only staying in League 1 because there's been dropouts. Having said that, Brooke Boggs, I think he got pissed off when I'd got a result against him, and he left for whichever time it was he was leaving. So he was one of the dropouts. But I have had good results against the guys who are at top. 2 alls when I should have won.
Yeah.
I'm happy with it overall because I've been playing against. A few of the better players, and a couple of the guys in the league above. I've played them and beaten them before the major. I've had when the major was down in one of the lower leagues. I think I beat him quite comfortably 2 or 3 times. So on my day I can do anybody, but I'm not very often on my day. So I enjoy it. It's good.
Yeah, I guess what you hit on there is something that, you know, certainly talked about with a few people. This thing about on your day, if you get in and the fair wind's with you and you're feeling good and you get a break or two. I mean, the opponent, however good they are, they can't really influence that, can they? If they're sat there or gone for a coffee while you're putting some balls away, it kind of doesn't matter whether you're closely matched or not, does it? It's whether you can build those breaks. Yeah, and I think that's really that's a great leveler. I think about this game. That's what I've noticed in the season of being in. That if you're really on it and you just catch somebody at the right time, you never know, do you? Okay, well, look, let's go to and hi, Milne, good to see you back, mate. Let's go to Rainy. So, Rainy, I know you can't reflect too much on the season you've had, but thinking ahead and thinking about where things are and your observations since coming back in, how's it going for you? How are you feeling about stuff?
Yeah, honestly, I'm a little bit nervous about League 3, to be honest. There's a couple of other new guys in there who I know from the online tournaments they are top quality and would probably be Prem standard easy. Everyone's seen Doyen and his recent form, Max's 155s, etc. I don't know how much everyone knows about Lucky Capper, but he's got a winning record against me in the online tournaments. I think at one stage it stretched to about 9-1 or something.
Wow.
And I think it's about 9-4 or 9-5 now. But yeah, he's a really tough player as well. I don't think I know much about the other guys that are in League 3. But yeah, we'll see. It's looking pretty stacked at the moment.
Yeah, it's very strong looking, isn't it? And
cheers, Mike, by the way.
Yeah, what was the thinking there then, Mike? Obviously, that was a deliberate decision to think about how you brought the new guys in, because you've had a few dropouts and gaps in the leagues this season, but obviously you made a decision there about how to sort the next season out.
Yeah, I mean, Halborn was coming in and he decided he didn't want to join. So I was trying to keep sort of Rainy and Halborn together. And then because of obviously, you know, how good Rainy, Halborn, Lucky Capper and Doyen, I kind of wanted them to be together because, you know, with all due respect to the lower league players, you know, I put a message out to them and a lot of them was like, you know, we've got to do what we've got to do. But at the same time, it doesn't ruin it for them, but you know they know they're not going to win it because they're in there. So I thought, well, if I can keep them separate, just they're going to cross paths for at some point. But another season practice for the guys still learning the game, and then the best two out of them top boys in League 3 will be rightly promoted. There'll be one left behind, and they'll have to do it the next season after. But by that point, the guys above will have had more experience and they might have a better chance of taking a frame or winning a match with them or something. So it's kind of just trying to keep it as even and as fair as possible, really. You know, just obviously that everyone has to start at the bottom, really, no matter what. But it was just in order to do that, really. And I just thought that was fair, is to try and keep them sort of together and earn their rightly place up the table as such. Rather than say I chucked, you know, Doyen and Rainy in League 2 with some guys when he just started playing the game, and they have a good chance of going up, and then Kappa and the other guy in League 3, they probably go up. So it's kind of this way, it's more competitive for them guys, it's more competitive for you guys, basically.
Yeah, so I guess in a way, there's a bit around the future of the game, isn't there, in terms of people keeping interested and having enough to feel like they can compete and be in there without perhaps being blown away almost straight away once they've got their feet under the table. So
yeah,
it's like I was chatting to Mike on Facebook before I rejoined, and obviously I've got a reputation on the game, but like I agreed with him that people that have been in this league for the last sort of couple of seasons, like nice loyal regulars, it's not fair to sort of put people like me, Doyen, etc., straight up to wherever. Whereas even if you've had, say, dropouts in the Prem or League 1, it just opens it up for an extra slot for the regulars to have a promotion, doesn't it? So I'm quite happy to be down the bottom anyway. So
yeah, and it's very, very, you know, good of, you know, fair as well for them all to accept that, and it's the right thing to do, isn't it? Really, you know, like he says, the loyal people have been here they should be the first ones in line. And as Rainy said,
Yeah.
he was more than happy to do that. So that's credit to him and all the other guys that had agreed to it as well.
Brilliant. So, and looking at next season, one of the things that I wondered if we could get through a podcast without mentioning it, but it is a massive elephant in the room. So on the chat group, on the WhatsApp, you know what's coming up. On the chat group, obviously, where the Premier League ended up is a major talking point, isn't it? So I wonder what people's views are on this. You know, I mean, you've made a decision, the guys have made a decision, and in the end, it's ended up in a change with the champion. But it sounds like it was all talked about and discussed, and people were happy to play it
For a
that
while.
way. But yeah, I mean, what's the thoughts on this one? You know, we're seeing, aren't we, that the computer now potentially on the game can make a call that isn't in accord with the rules of the game. This is the free ball issue that people will know about. What's the thinking? What's people's opinions on this one then? And I'll leave this open to anyone to jump in.
But yeah, I'll leave it to these guys first if they want to, because obviously we've made the decision. So it'd be nice to hear whether they think it's the right decision or not, really. I mean, for me, I will say first, for me, me and admin, we had a look at it and it wasn't even maybe. It was just, it was 100% not a free ball. There was no discussion about it. And, you know, obviously Mace didn't realise at the time, but had he realised, I would have thought he wouldn't have took it. You know, because it was that clear cut. It's not, and the fact that he lost a frame from that as well. He was 1-0 up, J Boy. He lost that game 3-1. He only needed a draw to win the league. So, you know, that potentially changed not only the frame but the whole match. But having said that, it doesn't matter whether it's to win the Premier League or to stay up in League Two. If it's not a free ball, it's not a free ball. So, yeah, we just thought the only right thing to do and fair thing to do was to sort of play that frame again, really.
I totally agree. Should have been replayed. The only sort of feedback I'd give on it was if something like that happens again, when you put the post in for the announcement, include the screenshot at the time, and then that would have probably stopped the next sort of 15 minutes chat of people then going to have a look at the links and all that. But yeah, no, having looked at it, yes, totally a right decision.
Yeah.
Any other views? It'd be interesting to know. I suppose there's two bits. I mean, we could all talk about the rights and wrongs of it, but the decision's been made, and hopefully the lads involved were happy with it, because obviously, you know, Lee's ended up not being the champion, and J Boy's got it. But you know, hopefully everyone's happy with the reason why. But what about if this happens in future? So I can picture a situation where any of us now are in a game where we think
just to say quickly on that.
Go for it.
Sorry, I feel a bit behind. I was just going to say, whilst you brought Lee's name out, that I have to credit him fully for this. I mean, you know, he did, obviously the decision was made, but he didn't have to accept it as grace. If he wanted to be funny about it, he could have tried to kick off or whatever. But Lee, being the top type of guy he is, he was like, I'm not interested in winning something if it's not fairly. He was all over the flame being replayed. He said it has to be. I showed him the footage before I announced it, and he was like, there's no way that can count. He says, I'm all for winning it fairly. I'm not interested in winning it any other way. So that's credit to him again.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I think that's it. People have just got to be sportsmen, haven't they? And it's the same as when a frame freezes. You know, we've all been in frames where we've been in and, you know, had a good chance. Might have had a 20 or 30 lead. It's frozen. We'll start the frame again. You just have to, swallow it, don't you?
Must admit the guy. Must admit the guy Lord. His name's on there as Lord Summerflies, isn't it? I mean, look, I've played him a few times, and we're frozen, and he got to the point where he just said to me, just walk away from it for like 5 minutes or 6 minutes, and a few times it's worked, and it's just come back in. I mean, it's a bit weird, but occasionally us just leaving it, and then it's eventually just come back on again.
It did that for me and you the other night, didn't it? It did freeze for 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah, it was weird, wasn't it? Yeah. I suppose the question is, if this happens to any of us now, so we're in that position where we think, hang on a minute, we're not sure this is a free ball. and the other guy is shaping up to perhaps take it on. I mean, what do you think we should do? Is this something where we message the other guy and say, mate, I'm not sure that this is the shot. I'm not sure this is yours to take. Or I'm just thinking, how do we address it if it happens again?
Yeah, I think that because it happened, it's happened now, and because of the game that it happened in such a big game, I think not many people didn't see that chat going on league chat. So it's kind of it's everyone's mind now. Howard messaged earlier about a similar situation, so it's at the front of everyone's mind now, and people are aware of it. So I think it's actually going to be a good thing, because it might increase the chance of the right decision happening before it has to be replayed. Like with Mason Jable, everyone knows that it can happen now. Everyone knows that if you do the wrong thing and it gets sent in, it's going to be replayed. So it's probably going to be a good thing, make people more aware and make the right decisions, basically.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, so yeah, so we're leaving it really to trust. I mean, the thing that stood out for me since joining this, and and this is the first season I've just finished, but just the quality of the people on it, the people on the group, when you play them, the messaging, they're just so supportive, and so they seem like they're really honest people. And this is partly why doing this is to get beyond the gamer tag and find out more about people. But the quality of the people on there and the supportiveness and how nice they are to each other in the group is just something else. It's like different class. Massive part of it, isn't it?
Yeah,
I definitely think that. I mean, I don't know how many seasons I've played now, maybe 4. There were a few people that were win at all costs that aren't part of the league structure now.
Right.
There was I'm being fairly diplomatic here, aren't I? But I think certainly everybody here on this call is always chatty, and I don't think I've played everybody, but everybody I have played, it's been in good spirits, and you don't want to win if you're not deserving to win. But there are those that have left. I've seen leave the league that it's been win at all costs. And,
Yeah, I don't think I've played you before, have I? I don't think we've crossed at all.
We've chatted plenty, but not. No, we haven't played.
No, maybe next season then, season 8.
If I can survive League One and you come down, yeah.
Well, if I can survive as well, mate.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to dash, lads, anyway. But good to speak.
Yeah, good to see you, Postman.
Yeah,
and we'll meet again on Sunday in our World Championship game, won't we?
Yeah, see you Sunday night, mate.
Oh,
nice one. Good to
Cheers.
see you.
See ya.
So who's the ones to watch then? So just thinking ahead then in terms of the season coming up. So, you don't want to give an edge to anybody who you might be playing against. So you might not want to say who you think, but, looking around the leagues, looking at people you've played before, and, is there anybody that stands out that you kind of want to bring up? Because if they're watching this, they might quite like being name checked and having some views. So whether it's how good they are, whether it's the style of play, whether it's something that stands out about them from what you've done, is there anyone you want to mention? Just get that wider interest among the group.
Yeah, I think starting from the bottom, obviously we know Rainy and Doyen are going to be up there, Lucky Kappa. But in terms of people that are already in the league, I think Little Dan and Lord Summer, I think they'll be right up there as well. They're quality players, quite attacking as well. I also think Mumford and Kev, I think they mentioned on it earlier. I think they could definitely challenge next. I wouldn't say win it, but I think you could challenge, break into that top 4 or 5. I think they're pretty good players, actually. Some of the best that have made it there in recent times. No disrespect to Chef, obviously he's a very good player, and he just had a bad season by his standard. Really, he kind of that's the thing. When you're winning all the time, you're full of confidence, and obviously it's not your arm going, but your arms, you do almost feel more confident, like your arm's smoother. And then when you get in the Premier League, like Chef was saying, that like you struggle, you pop 4 balls in some of his games, and then he takes that into the next game, and it kind of all builds up to the point where you just lost. You're just lost. You just feel lonely in the game, and I think that's if you can just knock that last game out your head, into the next one. That's to all divisions. I do that as well. You find that with me when I'm on a bad run, I kind of always hold it against myself really, and then when I'm winning, I can't wait to play the next one. But yeah, I sort of say that. Obviously, I'm sure there's a few others I've missed out as well. But trying to think on the top of my head, yeah, there's. I mean, even yourself, I think. Right, I think you've improved a lot since you come in this season. Obviously, not in your first century. I think you'll be right up there in League Two as well. So yeah, there's people improving all round really. As far as who's going to win the Premier League this season, how long's a bit of string? No idea. No idea. 1 of 5. No, I couldn't tell you. If I had to put money on it, I'd probably have to go each way on someone because it's just impossible to call, really. But yeah, that's probably about it.
That's great though, isn't it? You know, we don't have the football stuff where it's only a couple of teams who can win the league. We don't have that, do we? We've got, you can throw a blanket over 4 or 5, well, 5 players at least now, you're starting to say, certainly at the top division. And I didn't even pay Mike to say a nice thing about me, so that's really nice of you. But, you know, yeah, it's early days, but definitely learning a lot from people. Mumford, what about you then? So, I mean, I'm not going to ask you about who's going to win the Premier League because you're in the Premier League now, so that's a silly thing to ask you. But who's to look out for, and who have you left behind in other leagues that you like the look of or that you wanted to mention? Oh, can't quite hear you actually.
Yeah, your headset's gone.
I'll tell you what, I'll move to Rainy just. Oh, hang on. No, maybe the headset will be the saviour. Can you hear us, Mumford? I don't know. Maybe that's died. Perhaps we can do it. Perhaps we can do it through the art of mime or something. Is there some kind, or just write down who you think deserves a mention. You can hold it up to the screen. Rainy, you haven't seen a lot yet, but have you had any friendlies or games with people already in the league so that you can get a feel for who's around?
No, I've not played anyone other than my game against Render. I've played Lee before. I really rate Lee, and he's my favourite for the Prem this season. I've played Mace a lot as well. Super dangerous. I've only played J-Boy once, which was in that invitational for your cup, Mike, that you invited me into a couple of months ago.
In the final, yeah.
No, it was I think J-Boy was semi or quarter. I lost to Lee in the final, didn't I?
Yeah, and that's what I mean. You met him in the final, yeah. Yeah, I remember watching it.
Yeah, so just from my personal experience, I think Lee's going to win it. But I think it's going to come down to, especially amongst those sort of 4 or 5, there's going to be a lot of 2-2s, but someone's going to pinch a 3-1 here or there, and that's probably what's going to win it. Although you got people like Mumford, if he ends up getting a 2-2 or a cheeky 3-1 against one of the top guys, and that could decide the league as well. So yeah, we shall see.
Yeah.
It's going to be quite a good one though, tight again, I think.
Yeah, it's all to go for. Sorry, Mumford, I'm not sure we can hear you still. Is it somebody else? Somebody in the Premier League has done a cyber attack on you, haven't they? They're kind of just trying to gag you and make sure that you can't say anything bad.
I wonder if it not work for his phone. Obviously, his phone has a built-in microphone, does it not, or is it switched off the microphone?
No, still not coming through.
Oh, Milne's gone as well, is he?
Yeah, I think he's been having lots of connection problems by the looks of things. He's got in touch just to say off on the WhatsApp that he can't get back in. I mean, we'll probably wrap in a minute, but is there anything else, Mike, just from your point, obviously running it, thinking about the live streaming, the extra kind of layers that you're putting into the game, really, and a lot more involvement. Is there anything as either a message to everyone playing this or to anyone who's thinking about joining either as well, about, you know, where the game's heading and how you think it's going and where it's going to go?
Yeah, I mean, if anyone was watching it and that's thinking of joining, I'd have to say, not to sort of blow it out of the water, but I would say that I don't think there's any other league out there that will offer what we do. So if you play the game and you enjoy it, then you'd be silly not to join, to be honest. I can't wait to start sending out the trophies as well next season. That'll be good to see people sending their photos. I'm looking forward to that. I was just looking at them today again. They're quite nice, some of them. So yeah, that'll be interesting. And yeah, I suppose good luck everyone, and play as well as you can. I guess, yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, Rainy, anything else before we go? You can have the almost final word.
No, nothing for me. Like I say, just waiting to get going now. And yeah, just see what we do.
Okay, cracking. So yeah, I mean, it's been good to all the technical stuff aside, and I think that this is something that we can do again at some point, and hopefully, I was going to ask Mumford if he could talk to us again. Hopefully, this is something we could do again in the future. No, I don't think so, Mumford. Unlucky. Don't think we can hear you.
What about you then, Mike? What about you? What's your ambitions for next season?
Well, I don't know. See, I'm really cautious about saying anything because I only feel like, I mean, we've chatted a lot on the WhatsApps. I only feel like the penny's dropped for me in the last week or two about how to start building breaks. I've had an awful lot of draws this season, and I think I've got a tight game and quite a tight safety game. But it's been more I think that. So I've had a lot of draws against good players, and I think it's just that I'm not able to kill them off, or I haven't been able to. But they're also not able to pull away. So we've had a lot of tight matches. So, but for me, the penny dropped. I had my last league game against Glenn, and I got a century in my first one. And it was just starting to just go into the pack more and be a bit braver. And that was the major difference. And then the funny thing was that then I had a friendly with Chef later that night and got my second century, having not had one in the first few months of playing the game. So
Right, busted. Hey.
I think it's just that being bold. And yeah, a lot of players have said that. They said you're a decent player. You just need to build your breaks. And it sounds really simple. Like, oh, well, I know that. I know that's how you get more points. You build breaks. But how do you do it? And I think it was just that thing of, get a chance to come off a colour, and when you're pretty sure you're going to pot it, that's the other thing, isn't it? But
by the time we do the next one of these, he's going to be bragging about his first maxi.
You're kidding me? No. If I get another century, I'll be happy. I'm just taking it century by century at the moment. No, I don't know. I looked at the league. There's a few people I don't know in League Two, so I don't know what they'll be like. But I'm fairly confident that I'll be in the top group. Beyond that, who knows? And Sunday's the next of the World Championship sessions with Postman, and we're having a fairly tight ding dong. So I'm hoping that if I can keep the improvement going, then I'm in a good place. But yeah, I'm not one for predictions.
Yeah, that shows though, doesn't it? Because like you said earlier, he's been in the league for sort of 4 seasons, and he's a good player in his own right. He's in the top 3 division. He's always been in League One, and you're competing with that already. So it sort of shows how far you've come already, doesn't it? But I was just going to say one more thing, actually. Just reminded me, talking about centuries. There'll be an announcement. I don't know when this video comes out, but there'll be an announcement soon from Little Dan, same as he's done for the World Championships, and he's running a book on the new season as well. So yeah, that'll be good. That'll be good for anyone who's interested in that. He said a lot of people's asking for it, so I've had a look at a few of the odds. I mean, you'll all see it yourself soon, but that'll be quite interesting. I think you'll all be interested to see what me and Dan have drafted your odds up at. So keep posted for that one, because you got the winners of each division, and then you've got the winners of the centuries tables as well. But yeah, from what he's told me, I think quite a few people have been interested in it for the Worlds. I don't know, but I reckon Rainy might have cost a few quid.
that made the World Championships interesting from the start, didn't it? Really.
Oh,
don't
yeah,
talk about it.
Some game I watched. Yeah, I watched most of that. It was a good. It was obviously not for you, Rainy. Well, I thought it was a good watch. Yeah, it was a good watch. You could have gone either. There's just a few turning points, like you said, with in the league that sort of might change the Premier League next season. I thought in your game, obviously, it moved quite way ahead, but there was just one or two little shots that changed it in each frame, wasn't it? Really,
I was tracking it, and I think I wouldn't say threw away, but should have won 7 or 8 frames that I lost because I was in first, and normally I would get enough. But credit to him, every time he got in, he was just clinical and barely missed the ball. So yeah, things happen.
Yeah.
I guess, well, we'll wrap up in a minute. I guess the thing we don't talk about a lot, or we haven't done tonight, but it has been hinted at, is the whole psychological bit of it. You know, the whole bit of some really quality players, but at the end of the day, it's on the night, isn't it? And I guess that you can feel tight, you can feel different, tired. There's all sorts of things you can feel going into it, can't you? And even though it's a computer game as opposed to being stood there around the real table, there's still going to be times when it's just not happening, isn't there? The psychological bit, is that something you think you've had, anybody here has had to work on?
I definitely, mate. Yeah, even though it's still a game, I've definitely had that. Like when I had the Silver Cup finals, obviously completely unknown territory for me. I shudder to think what RainyLamb was thinking when he won the virtuals. You know, thousands of people watching and all that lot. Yeah, when I was in this. Even when I was in the Silver Cup, I was quite I don't know if anyone watched it, but I took quite a long time over some shots, and it was just because I just wanted to just triple make sure that I wasn't thinking stupidly. So I made the right shot selection every time, and I think that's, if it was a league game, I probably would have just got down and played it. But because of the occasion, it definitely made an effect on my thinking, maybe for the better, because I made triple, quadruple times sure every time, you know. So yeah, it definitely does have an effect on you. And like I think Lee said before, when you feel the pressure, sometimes you miss that line. You miss the line because your thumb sort of seizes up a bit, and you're sort of almost anxious or nervous because you want to press it right, but you press it too quickly. Then the next time, to compensate, you try and press it later, and you press it too late. And it all just builds up and gets in your head.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Any top tips? You guys are experienced at this game now, and you know it inside out. You've got big breaks. You've done well in it. There's some people who are new. Is there?
Not me.
Yeah, I was going to say, any top tips you've got for players who are out there?
I think RainyLamb's the one for this. Really, I don't see how I can ever talk Rainy.
Probably going back to the start of the video with Milne saying about position and only thinking one shot ahead and all, is I normally tell people, don't try and be too precise. Like I don't play for a specific ball. I play for an area to leave myself 2 or 3 shots, whether it's for a colour or for a red. So yeah, that's probably one of the better ones. So, and like if you're trying to get on a black or something, try and leave yourself for the cheeky blue as well, into like the yellow or green pockets. You've got options. So yeah.
Also, I would say, I'm sure you'll back me up on this or tell me if I'm wrong, but on the blacks, you kind of, when you're cutting the black off the spot, I find that your natural eye would make you think that you basically have to overcut what you think it would be in the aiming cone. Would you agree with that? Like if you sort of aim it as to what you think would be right, it's normally too narrow. So I always go a couple of clicks.
I find that on just cutbacks in general.
Really?
I'll line it up, and then I was finding that I'll hit the far jaw too much. So then, like you say, I'll line it up and then I'll do it a little bit more. But that's more cutbacks rather than sort of like the half ball blacks and stuff. So like if you're taking a black with a white on the black cush, something like that, like the really hard cutbacks. So, but yeah, I know what you mean though.
Yeah.
I don't know how you find it, but sometimes I feel that when you look at it straight on yourself, when you're almost in first person mode, it looks slightly different to then when you almost come away from it and look at it shot from there. And sometimes you think, well, do I do the shot that's telling me to go for, or do I need to move it a little bit for my naked eye, if you like? And I'm wondering how you do that one.
Some shots that you need different aims for, don't you? I mean, I don't know how much to say. I mean, obviously I'm not great, but yeah, different shots. It sort of I use different aim like camera modes for as such. So like if it's one along the cushion at that bit of an angle, I'll always come a bit higher, and if it's straighter, I'll come lower, and I'll come into the first person as such. Sort of different shots, you need different camera angles for, basically. I find anyway. I was about to say it's worked for me, but only this season. But yeah, no, there's no shame in that. It's a competitive league, isn't it? I think if when I go online, I'll win most of my games. To be honest, I don't play it that much, but when I do, I win most of them. It's just in the league, really. I struggle because it's just so good. You just can't give them half. You don't get second chances. You make one mistake, like everyone said, you might as well go and get a beer or something because you ain't coming back. Even in the championship, that is. Even in the championship, I'm sure Mumford would tell you if he had his headset on. Probably not, obviously not as much as the Prem, but 7, 8 times out of 10, you miss in the championship, it's game over. So, and that's only going to get worse as well by the time all the other boys get up.
Yeah, and I guess, as you say, with the online tournament, the single frame stuff, I guess, again, you're in or you're out, really, aren't you? Whereas with the 4 frames on the league, I suppose that's enough to show who was better on the night, if anyone is. It's often 2-2, isn't it? But at the same time, you can get yourself free up fairly quickly if it's going for you, if it's not going for the other guy. So it's that funny bit, isn't it? That's where I think the World Champs is really interesting, because now you've got a situation where there's enough games or frames in the first round to get a real feel for where people are at, which is perhaps even more so than the league and for the online tournaments, I guess. That said, it's session by session, isn't it? And if you listen to the real players, they'll tell you, won't they, that they've had a stinker of a session, or they've played it session by session and not really thought of the bigger picture with the score.
Yeah, it sort of gives you more of a, like you say, over the 10 frames, it's you've got more room to come back, haven't you? Really? But having said that, if you get yourself into quite a big deficit, you're always going to be struggling to get it back. But with the league games, I always go first game. The first frame of any league match for me is like, if I was ever going to be more concentrated, it's the first game, because if you lose that first frame, you got to win 3 on the bounce to get all 3 points. So it's kind of like that first frame, really. Obviously, you can still win by losing it, but 9 times out of 10, you don't win that first frame, you're not winning the match, really. So it's all on that first frame for me. So I always go all out for that and try and sort of build into it from that. That's what I've done this season. I've been a little bit more defensive at times this season. I think I did against Mumford the other night. He just gobbled me up the last time before and just picked my chances. And then when you get, just take it up. But yeah.
Yeah, I think Mumford recognised that. Definitely.
Yeah, I was on fire yesterday. I couldn't believe it, because I said to him before the game, I was like, I haven't played. The last time I played was the last time we played, which must have been sort of 2 weeks ago. So I was like, I fully expected me to be rubbish, because unless I practice, it doesn't. I'm not one of them that can just pick it up normally, pick the pad up cold and play well. I always get on the practice table for a game, always. And I'll come with Mumford, and like yesterday, I think I beat Mace 2-0, only a friendly, but I beat Mace 2-0, he didn't pot a ball. I beat Mumford 4-0, he only potted a few, and then I beat Chef in the best of 35, or finished it off. I think I won like 8 frames yesterday out of 8 against Premiership players, and I didn't practice. And then the next season, I'll probably practice and lose 4.
He's been playing so well, it throws you out. Yeah, so as you say, it's all on the day, isn't it? And there's enough ability from what you're saying. There's enough ability that anyone can beat anyone on the day. But it's interesting to get your ideas, your tips. You know, maybe a future podcast could be focused on more of that, talking about how the players play, how they prepare, how they even, you know, what do they do on the games? Do they listen to the commentary? Do they put music on? Do they have their headsets on? What do everyone do? You know, so maybe we'll learn more about people in the future with some focused chats.
I would make a guess now that 80% of the league turn commentary off, because after a while it gets a bit tedious when they say this the same 3 lines. We could have done that better. It's just the same lines all the time.
Pace is key.
Yeah, I know a few people do already. I know Lee listens to music for big games. Yeah, I know a few turn it off, but
I like it when they say you'll be disappointed with that shot, and you think, no, that's the exact shot I was trying. And when they warn the crowd that the next person whose phone goes off, you're out.
Yeah, well, I've had it before where I've played a shot and he's like, well, that's a shocker or something like that. And I was thinking, like, when they say it, normally it gives you an indication of what's happened. I was like, oh no, what's happened here? And I was like, trying to look around thinking what's gone wrong. And I've literally plumbed a red or something. So like, sometimes they can give you a little tip, the commentary, but sometimes they just get it completely wrong.
Yeah, it's bizarre, isn't it? Well, maybe a future one of these, we can talk a bit more about, you know, people's experiences with the games. It's quite interesting to learn how different people are doing it. But I think what we'll do is we'll probably wrap it there. I think the purpose of it was to review season 6, to think ahead of season 7. I think we've done that, and we've talked a bit about the World Championships. I guess it's watch this space. We'll get this out soon. I think, Mike, we were trying to get this out before the new season starts, aren't we? So Sunday is perhaps a good one for that. And then we'll do these things again if people want to do them and think it's worthwhile. Then, you know, we'll do stuff like this as a group in future. So it all leads me to do.
I'm all for it.
So I'll just thank everybody anyway. I'll thank everybody for joining in and being part of it. So Mumford, if he can hear me, but his sofa can. So Mumford, thanks to Mumford. To Milne, who sadly couldn't stay with us, but he's in our thoughts. He's still with us. Postman as well. Rainy, again, for your time, and you've been helpful coming into one of these as well on a one-to-one. And Michael, you know, at the end of the day, the game, you're steering it lovely, and I think it's a good product. And let's have a good season 7. I had to think about it. Let's have a good season 7.
Good.
All right.
Yeah.
Good to see everyone.
Cheers. Bye-bye.